Hello everyone, I'm International Master Piotr Nguyen, and yesterday was a very sad day for the chess world as great legend Victor Korchnoi passed away at the age of 85. He was the best player in the world who never became a world champion, and definitely he is my personal favorite player of all time. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to play against him. Even though I saw him playing in Warsaw 11 years ago, and I was playing on the next board in the first round, but I didn't play against him. He devoted his entire life for chess. 11 years ago he was more than 70 years old and still playing on the top level, above 2600, and that was a rapid tournament. And at that age there are not many players who can play on a good level, so he was really special player. And recently I've been reading once again his book, and this is a book about his 55 best games with the white pieces, 55 wins with the white pieces. I also have the other book about the wins with the black pieces, and I've been reading that book 11 years ago, and that made a great impression on me, and just recently I've been reading it once again. So today I would like to share with you some insights about my favorite game, which is also included in that book. Okay, so the game was in 1962 at Soviet Union Championship, and his opponent was the world champion Mikhail Tal, who was the world champion in 1960 till 1961, as far as I remember. Okay, Victor played d4. Okay, we have standard modern Benoni, which is a very typical weapon of Mikhail Tal, who liked to play in quite provocative style. Okay, so both sides are developing. Okay, and this is important point, because usually black plays here rook e8. Now, as the theory develops, rook e8 probably is the best move, with or without inclusion of a6. Black can also go knight d7, even bishop g4, but Mikhail was afraid of some preparations. That's why he went knight a6, which is supposed to be not the best move. Okay, now Victor played h3. Usually in this structure, white wants to push e4 and e5. To make it really work, white needs the knight on that square and can't allow black to play bishop g4, exchanging that knight. Also, white has space advantage. That's why white should avoid exchanging any pieces if possible. So black played knight c7, white went e4 as planned, and already e5 might be a threat. That's why Mikhail played knight d7, just stopping that. Okay, Victor went rook e1, and this is a very interesting position. I was looking at that game more than 10 years ago, and that was very interesting to understand how strong the threat of e4, e5 is. If at this moment black goes b5, white already goes e5. Okay, knight takes e5, knight takes e5, with bishop. Now white has rook takes e5, and if black takes, just white goes just d6, and okay, this is a very strong passed pawn, and the bishop is attacking the rook. White is winning in this position. So it looks very strange that such tactics works very early in the opening, but this underlines how bad and how slow was this maneuver. And Mikhail understood this and played a very strange looking move. He went knight e8, just stopping e5 by force. We can note that actually he could have played knight d7 and the other knight to e8, but he went okay, he could have made this in 2 moves instead of 4 moves, yes, but he just didn't see anything better. So Victor played bishop g5. Okay, harassing black's queen. Black went bishop f6, and that was another very interesting point, because usually this bishop is one of the best black's pieces. So I think many of you would just take on f6. And indeed, after bishop f6, let's say queen takes f6, maybe some knight h2 with the idea of knight g4, or just simple developing some queen e2, let's say. White is slightly better here. But as I said a couple moves earlier, white has a clear space advantage. That's why he's not interested in changing the pieces, even though the dark squared bishop is a very strong piece. So white went bishop e3. One may ask why not f4, because that looks more attractive. But then after some knight e5, okay, that bishop is not so well placed, actually. Because if we change, and bishop takes e5, and okay, black wants to exchange one more pair of pieces. So bishop e3 has the idea that after knight e5, okay, white can take now, and after bishop takes, go f4. Okay, black managed to exchange one pair of pieces, but now, okay, look at white's center. White gets a huge lead in development, which he already had. I mean, look at this knight on e8, but now it's even better. So bishop on f4 would be on the way of the f pawn, f2 pawn. Okay, so black went rook b8. The idea is to go b5. Okay, white just stops this with a a4, a6. And now, okay, so that bishop doesn't have too much to do on this diagonal. So bishop f1, just stopping b5. Black goes queen e7. White goes knight d2. This is a very typical move, just to reroute the knight to the c4 square, attacking d6. Also f pawn can now go forward, and also knight from c4 sometimes can go to a5 and c6. Should black go b6 or b5, yeah? Then the c6 square is available. Okay, black went knight c7, trying to play for a b5, and white goes f4. Black goes b5, and okay, it looks black got some counterplay, but here we can see just a great understanding of Victor. That's okay. He had some lead in development. He didn't make any mistake, So all the tactics must work in his favor. So white goes e5. Black has to take, and now knight d e4. Now we can see how nice was the trick bishop g5 and bishop e3. Now the bishop on f6 doesn't feel so well on that square. It would be perfect for black to keep knight there, or at least have this bishop on g7. Okay, so black goes queen d8, because also d6 was a threat. Now white just takes, and d6. So white has a great passed pawn, and it's even protected passed pawn. So we can see a very typical play in the modern Benoni. It's like the model game when black is not so accurate. Black goes b4, and this is a very important move, because now if black moves the knight, say to d7, white can put the knight to d5, or even take on b5, but okay, but basically d5 square is available, and white has just a huge advantage with the bishop pair, with strong knight and very strong pawns. So by playing b4, black is kind of forcing one pair of piece exchange, which helps him a great deal. Okay, knight takes d5, queen takes d5, queen d2. Okay, king h2, just a safe move, protecting h3 pawn, also preparing against some tricks on the long diagonal. And the next move by black is a very interesting one, because and it shows the creativity of Mikhail Tal. Black went b3, because black needs to find some counterplay. I mean, if he went some queen c6, okay, this is threatening a mate in one. But white goes just bishop c4, and what else black can do? White can put the bishop on h6, try to put the queen on f6, he can double the rooks somehow, so black needs to act. That's why b3, with the idea to put the bishop let's say to a8, and play with the rook on the 4th rank, getting some activity. Okay, now white could still go some bishop c4, but white tried to play, and bishop c4 was probably a very good move, but Victor tried to sacrifice the pawn on a4, because in such dynamic position white just doesn't count pawns. I mean, queen takes e4, okay, it's not really doing anything. It's kind of, let's say, discourages black from some active play, because now after bishop c4, white is fully mobilized, and black's pieces are not coordinated. I mean, look at the queen a4, rooks aren't doing anything, the knight is just defending. Here Mikhail being under huge pressure when bishop c8, which I think is a slight mistake. He could have gone bishop a8, but now white has a nice plan of playing bishop h6 and playing on the f file. black is not in time to generate anything. There's a very interesting line. After knight d4, white can go rook f4. Now the threat is rook f1 and pawn on f7 could fall. But black can go knight f3. But white can take it and just go d7. Okay, now there's a threat of bishop takes f8 and d8 queen. So black is forced to move the rook. And now e6. Bishop takes e6, and okay, black is lost. Now there are many good moves, but probably the most spectacular is rook f1, and of course this cannot be taken because queen c3 followed by mate. So queen e4, queen c3, check. Queen d4, and white can even exchange queens as rook f7 means there's a threat of bishop g7, and if king goes to g8 then rook e7. So the only way to stop this is rook b6, but then white can play rook f8 for example, and rook b8 and okay, bishop d6 and rook d8 and bishop e5 mate even. Okay, so bishop a8 was the better move, but basically white is winning, and it's a very nice line how white transforms the advantage, sacrifice the exchange and push forward with the pawn, the great attack. And the great thing which made a huge impression on me was that grandmasters usually don't calculate all those lines till the end. They just know that this position is winning, and when it occurs, then they are just making those lines work. Okay, black went passive, bishop c8. So now white is just improving his position. Okay, that was very interesting decision. Okay, in this position there are many good moves, but it's interesting how great players are making their choices. White, of course, has a bishop pair, which is supposed to be a huge advantage. He could keep it, playing like bishop d5, then it's not really clear what black can do. But white tries to transform the advantage of the bishop pair to the position with the opposite colored bishops. And it's very important to understand these things, as Victor explains himself, that in the dynamic position where one of the sides is attacking, where there are opposite colored bishops, the side which attacks has an extra piece. So that bishop on e6 is actually a spectator. It's not really valuable piece. White has the initiative. White is a clear piece up. And okay, it's easily proved by the lines, because okay, there are some immediate threats: queen f6, queen g7. So white goes rook e4, threatening rook e2. White just stopped this with rook f2. And now the only move black can make to stop queen f6, queen g7 mate is f5. So now queen f6, queen d7 is defending on the 7th rank. Okay, now white grabs a pawn, and it's not only about the pawn, it's about a threat, rook c7. So black is kind of forced to go rook c4, white exchanges. Okay, the position is completely winning, but one needs to still win the winning position, as okay, black is just staying and white needs to find a plan. So white goes rook d2, improving the rook. Okay, probably Victor was in some time travel, that's why but also the very important thing is just not to hurry, because black cannot do anything. Let's say if he goes queen f7, white has d7. Yes, and bishop d7. This is completely winning. So why to hurry? We can just torture the opponent and enjoy the position. So he doesn't hurry. And queen e7, rook d2. Yeah, and now we see the repetition of moves, and this is another very important point that if you look with a computer you will not understand. That great players like to torture the opponent. I mean, if you can repeat the position, and why not to repeat it? I mean, you can show off your strength. You can show that the opponent is helpless. Yes, and you can repeat, and then you'll change. Yes, so now white goes rook d4. Okay, black doesn't have anything better. It was just queen d7, and now white pushes forward g4. Black goes a5, and now yeah, according to Victor, he made an inaccuracy playing king g3, and yes, probably he wasn't that focused anymore, because he knew the position is winning, and actually g takes f5 was winning on the spot, because after bishop takes f5, rook c4, with a threat of rook c7, queen a7, rook c5. Okay, we can go a4, because what else? a5, and now white finishes in a great style, because of course white wanted to go rook c7, but there was a problem. Black had a counterplay on the f2 square, so now white sacrifices the pawn with e6. Rook can't take on e6 because of immediate mate. And okay, if black just goes some a3, then e7, followed by queen f8 or queen g7, it's just over. And if bishop takes e6, now rook c7, and it's a very nice point that now f2 is covered, so it's over. Okay, so g takes f5 was winning on the spot. Victor played king g3, which doesn't throw a win, but okay, it prolongs the game a little. And going with the king actually is quite secure here, and also the great players usually are playing with their kings much better than the weaker players who are afraid of some calculating some lines. Queen f7, king g5. And now, of course, even though black would like to change maybe the queens as he was defending, but after king f6 the king is actually a very great attacking piece, and we know in the endgame the king is really important. So now okay, let's say bishop d7 is met by e6, so okay, it's very hard to stop those pawns now. So black went fg, hg, bishop d7. And now white just improves the rook. Rook c4. Rook cannot be taken because of queen g7 mate. Black goes a4. White goes rook c7. Black goes a3. And now very beautiful finish. Rook takes d7. Queen takes d7 and e6. I should point out that after queen takes f6, e takes f6, a takes b2, white just wins by means of f7, king h8. Okay, there are many good moves like rook e7, but king f6 followed by bishop g7 mate is probably the most beautiful. So black had to take, and now e6. And now black could give a check on b5, but after king h4, g5, king h5, those are the lines shown by Victor himself in his book. Queen e8, king g5, queen g6, takes. Now white just wins by d7. Those two pawns are just great. A takes b, e7, check, king h4. If queen, then white just queens and wins easily. Check, king g7, queen e7, check, and white has two queens. Now black has only one more check, queen h1, but then king g3. Yes. And black doesn't have any more good checks. So that was very interesting line. After e6, black went queen a7 in the game, and now, okay, he is threatening queen e5. This is important, but white just centralizes his queen e5, and after ab, e7. Now queen g7 is a threat, so king f7, and a very beautiful finish, d7. And with a point that after queen takes d7, check, and mate. Okay, so that was very interesting and instructive game. We could learn about this Benoni structure from that game and typical plans, and how we can punish black's a little bit provocative play with some very precise play based on the understanding of some principles, like the having some passed pawns, like playing with the opposite colored bishops. So I hope you enjoyed that game as much as I do, and I really do recommend you reading his book. So thank you, bye.